Okay, so I'm going to use indigo, which is this color way down here, and it's going to look like this. Now we can make that really, really dark, and we can make it really light. And my second color is going to be cadmium yellow, which is here. There's a little bit of indigo already in it, so it's got a slight touch of green to it. But isn't that a beautiful color? And as I water that down, let's see what happens. Okay, it's gonna do this lovely pale, not really yellow, there's a little bit of reddish orange to it. It's not exactly like a lemon yellow, but it's really pretty. Now the two of these colors together make a beautiful green, and that's why I'm choosing them, because this color is a mixture of these colors. So this is the indigo. My cat is losing her mind. So we have this yellow and this blue. This is the cadmium yellow and the indigo. And when we mix them, look at that color. Now that's pretty blue, so I'm going to pull out. It'd help if I had a mixing brush, so I'm not using my good brush here. So I'm going to pull out some more Indian yellow. Some cadmium yellow. And see how that color changes? So this is a green. Oh yeah, she's getting really tactile over here. And the more yellow we add to this green, the lighter it's obviously going to get to the yellow side. And the more blue we add, okay, it's going to go into this really, well, that's a little too much blue, isn't it? There, this beautiful yellowy green color. So because these two colors work really well to make a green, I think this is then a really good yellow, and this is a good base color for the basic iris, which is the same tones I used here, so you can see what I mean. In other words, we're only using two colors for this whole piece, and the green is a mix of those two colors, which means it's simple, so it's a limited palette. A limited palette is great because it keeps it so the colors are all from the same source. They merge and they mix, and they just, because they're from the same source, there's no clashing. I've got my brush, it's full of really dirty, mucky water. This is the piece I was doing yesterday to see what kind of color this is. There, it's like a weird bluey, mucky water, but that's okay because you will see where the water is, so I like that. So, having an idea of what it looks like, I'm going to kind of wiggle and dance my brush. Let's see, this is one part. Wiggle and dance the brush here. And this is very intuitive. This is just like what I want, what I'm thinking. It has nothing to do with a plan or a picture. And I'm going to do a frontal, like a looking at from the side. So we've got this leaf. Okay, coming out here. And we've got this one. Let's go up a little bit and maybe down. Give it a nice bend. And we'll make it even bigger. See how that just brought it down? And our eyes are going to connect this all by itself. We don't have to draw it all in, and we also don't have to paint it all in. Continuing with this weird green messy color, which is actually my water that needs to be changed. We have the underbelly part. So under this one, let's bring it in. Let's bring that in. Maybe bring it over. Yeah, something like that. Like that's very flowy. That's what I'm after. We could actually add a few spots, which I never ever do. So this is like the first time on camera that I'm using speckles. Okay, now we're going to come back with a color. So let's take our blue and maybe we'll use a slightly smaller brush. This is a Da Vinci, it's size 4. I know that this is a size 4 and this is a size 4. This is a mop brush, so it's going to be very, very big. And this is a size 4 round. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here and just tap the very tips. And I really want a thick dark color, something like that. I'm going to tap the edges, and we're just going to let it move and see what happens. And I'm also not going to tap all the edges. I want to let it flow, and we'll see how it happens. Okay, let's come across the top. Can you guys hear that kitty? She's just losing her mind. She's an indoor cat, in case you're wondering. She has not been fixed yet. I don't really want to get her fixed, but at the same time, it's kind of a necessity because if she gets outside, the world doesn't need more kittens. I certainly don't need more kittens. One is more than enough for me. Okay. Here. And then maybe we'll do this part. Let's come in here. I'm going to incorporate some of these drops right into the piece. Maybe not that one, but this one. This one too. Draw some little lines in the middle. And let's do a few of these lines, maybe going up. There we go. Okay. Okay, so as far as an intuitive piece goes, I hope this is still recording. This is looking really good. Okay, so when it comes to lifting, you could use a towel, but I find that the towels don't do nearly as good a job as paper towel. So, oh, kitty, stop! Get it down! Sorry, guys. Got a rogue cat on my hands. There. I just want to take that piece out. And this drop will be up there. Alright, it started to dry a little bit and looks amazing. So I'm going to add some of this blue. This is turquoise phthalo blue. And I'm just going to touch in maybe on the underside. Just want to add a little bit to kind of change the colors here. Okay, I hope it's still good. I'm not sure if I still like it. Let's put a little down there. Kitty, what are you doing? You're making this one very lively episode. Alright, now, that is so pretty. Let's do something about the stem. For the stem, we've already made this color up. And that's this. Now I've just added a little bit of turquoise phthalo blue in here, but that's alright, it just changed it. So, without necessarily touching that, now you can do this any way you want, but I think I want to just come in next to it and get a larger brush, maybe more paint. There we go. and I haven't really thought this out. Now, it's kind of awesome the way it is. Let's bring, we need like a bigger chunk here, because they're always really big. Okay. There we go. And then let's do this again. And I'm going to tap in, draw a little yellow line on the side here. And we've got a little bit of pink going on between these two colors. Over here too. So this is the brush that I talked about in the brush tutorial or the brush introduction where I was playing around. This is the 5519. This is also Da Vinci. It's the two-tone end, and you can see what an amazing point you get from it. And I'm just kind of flicking it. I'm kind of walking it along the base here in order to get more of a line, but also kind of get it really, I don't know. Does that make sense, guys? There. Okay. Over here. And I'm going in and off the page. So into the paint, off the paint. Just to try to bring some of that together. I'm gonna leave the top. Don't want to do too much in there. Except maybe this. Just do a whole bunch of really fine lines down the middle. Now, of course, it's going to get a little more detailed, isn't it? Down, down, kitty. And the whole time I'm remembering that if I mess up, it doesn't matter because I'll just start over. I mean, obviously I'm hoping I don't mess up, but if I do, we'll be fine. This is gonna blow out right there, so I won't go much further than that. But over here, same thing. And some fine lines, tiny little wiggles. Okay, and now down here, again, I'm gonna do a little more detailing because I really like it. I'm tempted actually to lift out a few of these. So I'm not, and this is a good practice on lifting. Now it'd be much better if my water was clean. But I'm just, hey, get down. Down you go. Go play with your toy. There, go play with your toy. Not my hand, toy. I need cleaner water, guys. Okay, that red is really hard to lift because it's a very staining color, but that's okay. Okay, so coming back with my wonderful brush. This is size 5, in case you guys are interested in figuring out what size or maybe getting one. Now I want to do some more down here. These guys have lines. Do we want this dot? Let's own that dot and add just a little something. There we go. You know what? Since we've owned the dot, let's add a little more indigo in here. That'll fix the line probably. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna have to work on this. It's drying, but notice how it's just become a giant mud puddle, but it's not quite dry yet, so we can still add a little. We can even kind of pull them, put some color in that way. And there's a real mud puddle here. Now I'm going to pull this part out just by putting my paper towel in the middle. I'm just going to tap that out, and I'm going to get the same kind of look over here. It's got a little dry on that, so it's not going to work. So if I start here, I'm going to get a point. Where I put it down, if I start as a point, and when I lift it off, I'm going to get a drop. Okay, so watch this. So if we start here, and let's do it really light so it's super tiny with a few little dots. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, and then we're going to pull it, and see when I lift it, I get a little dot. So if I want a straight line, I just need to keep pulling. And this part got pretty dry. Kitty. A little wiggle in there. Maybe a little wiggle here. Just go in and off and in and off. So some parts are going to bleed and others are going to stay straight. Let's bring some lines in here to kind of incorporate these smidges. Okay, and let's do something similar over here. Katie, you're making it very hard to work. There. Okay, I've got a few runbacks I'm going to take care of here. I've got one going on here, which I don't like. And this will be another one because there's just a little bit too much water right there. This one is kind of there. That's better. That's better. Much better. In fact, let's do that right across this run back. It's not exactly. There we go. Perfect brush for that, but it's better. And we'll do it up here too. Okay. And here. Okay, guys, what do you think? The only thing left for me would be the stem. Specifically this part right in the middle. I could leave the stem all just weird and grayishly green like this, like a giant green mess. Or, using the same brush, I could come back and do a tiny bit of detailing. So what do we want to do? Let's bring the yellow over here. Now I need this to be really thick because if I add water, I'll end up with blooms, this whole blooming thing that's going on, which I don't want any more of. And don't want them at all, but okay. So I've got the dark and I've got the light. Let's not use that brush. What am I thinking? Oops. Okay, and there we go. So now taking these two colors and the one in the middle, I'm going to paint through them onto my brush. And I want to kind of redefine this. Not too much. Okay, just a little bit here. It's kind of where my yellow is going to go. Instead of putting it up here. Now going in and out, giving it a little bumpy edge. I think that's more interesting than a straight line. It's also kind of my signature thing. And then we need a darker line. Come into the middle. Pick up some darker blue. Okay, and put this little one here. Now the higher the point, the more vertical I hold the brush, the smaller the line will be, which is kind of crazy because it's already really tiny. But if I drag it too much, it's going to get bigger. So I want to hold it really, really straight, right on its point. And then I can wiggle and even tap a little bit. Some dots at the end because I like doing dots. In fact, I'm going to do some dots in here. Voila. So this color underneath this works really well as a base color for doing this line work on top. There. Let's do that a little more. This little swoosh down here and this little swoosh up here, it looks a little weird right now, especially because I just put it at the very end, but it's going to give a little poof to it. This one, maybe I could take out. I mean, I should just leave it because it's there, but take it out a little bit, make it more of a ghost. I like that. A little ghost going on. And we're getting really close to the end of the page. Now, things I would do differently is I would have been a little more controlled with my brushes, my line work in here, although I do really like the way it looks. And when it's completely dry, I might come back and rework that tiny bit by adding some darker, and actually it's pretty dark right now. So let's just see if we can do that here. There we go, just to re-emphasize this blue thing going on in here. Because it got very brown. Ah, much better, much better. A little bit of scumbling here too. Okay, and we're done. Hmm. 2020. Wow, that's crazy. There was a time in my life when I thought about how old I would be in 2020, and now we're here. How weird is that? I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick tutorial. Probably not that quick, it's 30 minutes. Well, that's not bad as a tutorial goes. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this loose and fluid and mostly about motion. There's a lot of motion, a lot of explosion, a lot of movement. I really, really like it. I'm super happy with this. There will be a Patreon post for this tutorial. It will include my reference photo, although I don't really have one, so I'll have to find a few that kind of give you an idea of what this looks like if you looked for a plant. I will include a sketch. I will definitely include this sketch for you guys, and there'll be some pictures of my in-betweens, my feelings and thoughts on the whole thing, the materials and the colors I use, the paper I use, the brushes I use, etc., etc. So all that kind of stuff is on there. And there's also another tutorial, a total tutorial, which goes really slow. It's pretty long, and I dive into the techniques, some of which I used in this one. The other tutorial is an iris, but it will not be available on YouTube because I just wasn't thrilled with the actual outcome of the piece, so I'm not going to put it on YouTube. But the process in which I painted, I talked about a lot of great things. It was just one little lesson after another all the way through. So I think that it's really a great value, a learning value, and honestly, it's a learning value because I flopped in the end and I didn't like the way it looked. This one is my attempt number 3, and it is much, much, much better. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Toodaloo!